So in Warfare Square, there are three basic pillars. There's locations, there are soldiers, and there are players. Locations are real-world places. They are your coffee shop, a restaurant, or a mechanic, let's say. Basically, players will transport troops, will transport soldiers that they collect to these locations and try and take control of them, basically to become the ruler of that location. Every 24 hours, a location will generate a new soldier. The player has to go to the location in person to pick up that soldier. Players can carry up to 10 soldiers at a time. Players have two options for soldiers. They can use them to attack, and they can use them to defend. When they're defending, players will leave behind soldiers at conquered locations. When you're attacking a location, you go to the location in person, and you select from the 10 soldiers that you have a limit of the number of them that you want to attack the location with. After attacking, the winning player takes control of the location and is able to start collecting soldiers from that location. Locations also generate coupons.
The map is the center of our app. Everything is based in it, everything comes out of it. You can get to every possible page in the app from the map. The user interface was designed with the game mechanics in mind. We took a document outlining everything that had to be done that the user could do, and we found out how it could be done most efficiently, and we created steps that the user had to go through to get these objectives done.
I was primarily responsible for developing the Android app and its functionality. Not so much its user interface, but its actual implementation.
What were some of the challenges?
Not having programmed a lot of Android before, learning sort of the Android interface as well as the Google Maps API to bring them together.
How does it work in terms of communication between the app and the server?
Most of it is just basic JSON. I make a request. The server is RESTful, so I make a request to the server, and it returns to me being the app, JSON data that I can then use to populate the points or do whatever I need to. Very little of the data is actually stored on Android side, and that's mainly to reduce the amount of synchronization that's required. Essentially, when an attack happens, you have to have a data connection and everything takes place server side. The Android app is essentially just a front end for your server. Essentially, the user will attack a location. It will tell the Android app they want to attack. The Android app will inform the server that this attack wants to take place. The server will do the actual battle itself and then return the results to the user.
So when I was designing the art, mainly picking the colors and how they were going to be implemented in the app and in the wireframe specifically, I wanted to make it easy for people who didn't know how to use the app to figure it out as they were using it. So initially we picked a color that wasn't used by any other social media applications, and then within the interface we used contrasting colors of blue and orange in order to help the user figure out what they were doing. So I mainly used orange for buttons that were used in interactions a lot. We had a discussion as a team sort of what we felt needed to be included in the coupon. So I ended up including a logo, a description of what the coupon was and what it got you, your picture, the logo of the company that provided the coupon, and something that can be used by the cashier redeeming the coupon for you, like a QR code or a scan code or a number that they can input into their cash register. And in terms of color and design, I made up about 5 mock-ups and brought that back towards the team, and we decided the actual scannable item should be the focus, so I drove it towards that, put that in the middle, geared everything else towards the side.
In terms of challenges I faced, I found it difficult sometimes to communicate game design ideas to people who have no experience in game design. Communicating theories and especially terminology was a little bit difficult. So basically condensing the ideas of game design theory into things that people with no experience in it could understand was a challenge that I had to overcome.
Communication was definitely a thing as a team that we had to overcome in terms of how do we communicate with people who think different ways and interpret things in different ways. So again, that's things that you just have to learn throughout life. So this was definitely a good test of our ability to communicate and to work with different kinds of people.